Okie doke. I'm finally ready to talk a bit about economic sustainability. The basic idea is I'm trying to pull together some different themes from throughout the course under this topic. I hope it makes some sense. Let's see. So, what are the key economic problems in macroeconomics? Well, we tend to think about inequality and poverty, or generally the distribution of wealth and income, unemployment, and the business cycle, if you think about standard macro, and economic growth, or in this context, consumption and happiness, because actually when we're talking about consumption, what we're really interested in is happiness, right? And consumption is a proxy for that. So we're tweaking the standard macro three categories, which would be growth, the business cycle and unemployment, and inequality. We're tweaking them a bit for this sustainability context. And then we've added a fourth one, which is unsustainability, which is putting even more of a long run twist on it and saying, okay, maybe the economy is growing right now, but perhaps in the future it's going to crash. Maybe unemployment is fine now, but perhaps in the future it's going to go way up. So we're looking even further into the future than we typically do in environmental economics. So those, oh, sorry, in macroeconomics. So those are our sort of four key themes for this set of videos, this module. Did I even get the name of the module right? Yeah, economic sustainability, yeah. Okay, and this unsustainability, we are gonna be linking that potentially to environmental and natural resource related problems, right? Non-renewable resource exhaustion and its effects on energy supply and the supply of materials to the economy, pollution of land and water or air, and biodiversity in terms of the inputs of renewable resources to the economy, but also the quality of nature, which is important to us. Okay, and we want a framework to think about these questions, and we're going to take that framework from earlier in the course. And we have this picture in module 3. There we were really just trying to understand how the economy works, and we were looking a lot at quite a bit at investment and this idea of vintages. If you remember that we invest in capital, the capital determines what technologies we're using, then we have technological progress, we have to reinvest in new capital goods, and then we get the progress. The new knowledge is then reflected in new production systems, more goods, higher quality goods, whatever. Okay, and then of course that also affects demand for natural resources, polluting emissions, etc. Okay, so that's the framework we had from module 2. And then I'm just basically taking that, but I'm tweaking it a bit. Okay, so what have I done? I've added, obviously I've pushed things around a bit in the picture. I've added a research sector, which is then the knowledge developed here is feeding into these 3 production sectors. Capital is used in all 4 production sectors then, including the production of research, production of knowledge. Here we are pulling down the stocks of non-renewable natural resources. We've got pollution and waste, although I'm not actually going to use that much. One thing we're not showing is the relative land use. So I'm saying that here we see that these industries use a lot of non-renewable resources that then feed in. What we don't see here, for instance, is that this industry uses a lot of land, right? So that's something to bear in mind. So there's lots that's not shown here, but there's quite a lot that is shown. That's another tweak. What's the difference between those two? Well, this one is including these long run processes from one vintage to the next, right? We come up with new ideas, we then need to make the capital goods to put those ideas into practice, and then several years later we've got new production systems based on those ideas, right? But if we just think, and that might be 10 years later for some industries. If you think of a new idea for a nuclear power station, we're talking 15, 20 years before that could actually be in operation. So this is a more shorter run perspective where we put these long run processes into the background and just think about the production, not the capital and not the knowledge. Okay, so this is like the dynamic long run. This is the more static short run picture. Okay, so that's our framework. And then if we look here, we're going to look at inequality, poverty, unemployment, happiness and consumption. And then we're going to bring happiness and consumption together with environmental quality and do a particular analysis on that. So we'll see, I don't know how many videos it'll be, but it'll be a minimum of one, this one, then 1, 2, 3, 4 more. But that's the end of the introductory video.